Welcome to Westeros, a land of beautiful castles, direwolves, and more backstabbing than a medieval episode of Real Housewives. We start with ice zombies beyond the wall. Seriously, White Walkers are just one undead bug bite away from turning your morning jog into a scream fest. Brave Knight Waymar dies gloriously dumb, and 1 out of 2 men survives to run home screaming like it's Black Friday. Scene shift, Winterfell, the cozy north. If your idea of cozy is wolves roaming around and everyone wearing fur like it's fashion week minus the glam, Stark kids meet their direwolves, giant, mystical mutts that shout, "Bond with us or die trying." Bran steals the spotlight, and a wolf pup, because what's childhood without a touch of moral ambiguity and puppy kidnapping? So there's young Bran Stark, just climbing towers like a medieval spider kid, minding his own business, until he stumbles upon something truly scarring: Queen Cersei and her brother Jaime, bonding horizontally, without clothes. Bran's like, wait, what? Jaime's like, the things I do for love. And then casually shoves a 10-year-old out the window. That's right, pushes a child outside a window. Because in Westeros, family secrets aren't just whispered, they're launched off towers. Meanwhile, Ned Stark, King's Landing's soon-to-be political intern, is awarded Hand of the King. He says yes, because who doesn't want to leave their fortress for royal court drama and incest rumors? The entire Stark clan packs up, waving goodbye to Winterfell and hello to a city where trust is rarer than a polite Lannister. At the Wall, Jon Snow, the dutiful bastard, signs up for cold sodomy in the far north. He's trading Snow for celibacy, giant killers, and existential dread. It's basically college, but with better chainmail and worse healthcare. Back in King's Landing, we've got a love triangle more toxic than a dragon's breath. Royal incest, secret pregnancies, and whispers. Ned starts digging for the truth. Spoiler, digging into Lannister secrets is like poking a hornet's nest with a toothpick. Political soap opera levels equals maximum. End of part 1. Direwolves versus secrets. Winter's coming. And so is the cliffhanger. Stay tuned, because nobody's died politely here, just dramatically. Previously on Keeping Up with the Lannisters, Ned Stark moved to King's Landing to play Hand of the King, and it's already giving him hives. He walks in and boom, corruption, assassins, and the smell of betrayal in the royal air freshener. Ned's first move, investigate the death of the last hand. Cute, noble, suicidal. The king, Robert Baratheon, would rather hunt and drink himself into a nap than rule, so Ned is basically doing the work of 3 government departments, unpaid. Meanwhile, Catelyn goes full detective mom. She finds a dagger, thinks Lannisters did it, and runs to King's Landing like she's in Westeros' next top conspiracy theorist. Peter Baelish, aka Littlefinger, aka Walking Red Flag, gets involved. His loyalty is thinner than Jon Snow's social life. Over in the east, Daenerys is done being quiet. She's learning languages, politics, and how to ride a dragon-sized horse and a warlord. Her creepy brother Viserys, still cosplaying king, gets increasingly unhinged. His attitude, give me a crown. Khal Drogo's answer? Sure. Then pours molten gold on his head. Result, king of absolutely nothing. Back on the Wall, Jon Snow is having an identity crisis with his Night's Watch buddies. Turns out it's less about adventure, more about cleaning toilets and freezing to death. Surprise, no one respects bastards or volunteers. Tyrion Lannister, everyone's favorite sarcastic gremlin, travels north, drops life truths, and gets wrongfully arrested by Catelyn Stark. Because why not escalate tensions between powerful families when you're already one assassination attempt away from civil war? End of part 2. The Starks are poking the Lannister hive. Viserys is dead. Yay. Daenerys is thriving. Glow up unlocked. And Ned, he's one honorable decision away from disaster. Spoiler alert, it's not gonna end well. Things in Westeros are going downhill faster than Bran from that tower. Ned Stark is deep in his honor above all phase, which is adorable considering he lives in a world where people lie more than they breathe. He's digging into the royal family tree like a nosy neighbor with access to Ancestry.com. What he finds, all of Queen Cersei's kids are blonde, blue-eyed, and absolutely not related to the very brunette King Robert. Oops. Turns out Jaime, yes, her brother, is the real baby daddy. Ned's like, I'll warn her and give her a chance to run, because, again, honor. And Cersei's like, thanks, I'll kill your entire bloodline now. Classic miscommunication. Meanwhile, Arya's sword lessons are going well if stab first, ask later counts as progress. Sansa is busy fantasizing about her wedding and refusing to see the red flags waving harder than a war banner. To be fair, Sansa's biggest crime is believing the world works like a romance ballad. Unfortunately, she's in a George R.R. Martin novel, where love gets you killed and loyalty gets you imprisoned. She thinks Joffrey's her golden-haired prince until he turns out to be more gremlin than gallant. By the time she realizes she's engaged to a teenage war criminal, it's too late. Her direwolf is dead, her dad's under arrest, and she's trapped in a castle full of sociopaths with nice hair. Sansa starts learning fast, smile, curtsy, and lie just well enough to survive. In a court full of snakes, she becomes very good at not getting bitten. For now. In the Vale, Tyrion is put on trial by Lysa Arryn, Catelyn's sister and proud owner of the most unhinged child in the Seven Kingdoms. Tyrion survives by demanding trial by combat, where a hired mercenary wins it for him. Moral of the story, don't underestimate short kings with big brains and bigger wallets. On the Wall, Jon gets a sword. Yay, and finds out that the Night's Watch isn't just underfunded, it's possibly haunted. There are dead bodies that don't stay dead. Nothing like zombie foreshadowing to spice up your guard duty. Meanwhile, across the Narrow Sea, Daenerys eats a raw horse heart because ancient pregnancy traditions are weird like that. She's carrying the stallion who will mount the world, aka a future warlord baby. Viserys is dead, Drogo's impressed, and her dragon eggs are starting to look suspiciously warm. End of part 3. Truths are ignored. Threats are rising, and Ned's playing chess in a room full of people with daggers. What could possibly go wrong? So things are tense in King's Landing. Like, stab you in the corridor, tense. Ned finally figures out the royal kids are all products of Lannister twincest. He tells King Robert, who's like, "Cool story, bro. I'm going hunting." Nothing says leadership like ignoring political incest and going off to kill a boar. Robert promptly gets gored because Karma has excellent aim. On his deathbed, he asks Ned to take over until his son, Joffrey, comes of age. Ned's like, sure, but writes down rightful heir instead of Joffrey. Classic Ned. Morally correct, tactically suicidal. And then he tells Cersei because, again, honesty in Westeros is a great way to get killed by noon. Meanwhile, Joffrey, teenage demon with a crown, claims the throne immediately. Ned shows up with what he thinks is support from the City Watch. Plot twist, the Gold Cloaks switch sides faster than Littlefinger changes alliances. Ned gets betrayed, arrested, and smacked in the head. Everyone saw that coming except Ned. Back at Winterfell, Robb Stark is done playing nice. He calls the Stark banners, declares war, and starts marching south with a wolf, a grudge, and enough teen angst to light a castle on fire. At the Wall, Jon's learning that the Night's Watch is dealing with more than just cold toes, like reanimated corpses breaking into bedrooms. One of the dead men wakes up and tries to kill the commander. Jon lights it on fire. New rule, if it's cold and moves, torch it. Across the Narrow Sea, Daenerys is now the Khaleesi. Drogo pours gold on enemies, wins battles, and does a war dance, but then he gets a minor chest wound. No big deal, right? Wrong. It's Westeros, even mosquito bites can end dynasties. End of part 4. Ned's in jail, war's coming, Jon has ice zombies, and Daenerys is about to learn the price of love. Next chapter, Chaos. We open with Ned in prison, reflecting on all the life choices that got him here, mainly trusting anyone in King's Landing. Varys shows up like a budget therapist with cryptic advice, offering survival tips that involve saying whatever Joffrey wants to hear. Ned agrees to confess because dying is noble, but kinda inconvenient. Cut to the throne room, crowds gathered. Ned's dragged out and forced to confess to treason. He does. He lies to protect his daughters. Cersei gives a little nod like, yes, good. Then Joffrey's like, cool story, now chop off his head. Everyone is shocked. Sansa screams, Arya runs, and Ned's head, well, it's not attached anymore. Congrats, Westeros, you just killed your last honest man. Robb hears the news and goes full direwolf daddy mode. He wins a battle, captures Jaime Lannister, and the North is suddenly screaming, King in the North, like it's a football chant with swords. Stark revenge touring coming in. Meanwhile, at the Wall, Jon hears about Ned and tries to abandon his post to avenge him. His brothers drag him back. Good thing, too. Turns out the White Walkers are mobilizing and leadership is needed. The Night's Watch rides out beyond the Wall to do something helpful, hopefully. Back across the sea, Drogo's wound gets infected, because of course it does. And Dany makes the very normal decision to ask a witch for help. The spell costs her Drogo's soul, her unborn baby, and most of her trust in humanity. She mercy kills him. Tragic, bold, romantic? Maybe not, but she walks into his funeral pyre with 3 dragon eggs and 0 regrets. The next morning, a fire's out. Dany's naked, not crispy, and surrounded by 3 newborn dragons. That's how you end a book. Final verdict, 1 dead Stark, 1 teen tyrant, 1 dragon mom, and a whole continent on fire. See you in book 2. So, what have we learned from A Game of Thrones, book 1? That having a moral compass is basically a death sentence. That honesty gets you a sword to the neck. And that the only people thriving are a teenager with dragons, a sociopathic boy king, and a dwarf who talks his way out of murder charges. We learned that wolves are better parents than most humans in this story, that the Night's Watch is 1 HR complaint away from collapsing, and that the Lannisters always pay their debts, usually in trauma. Also, never trust a child ruler, never trust a witch who offers help, and absolutely never trust a man named Littlefinger. Like, Seriously. But most importantly, this isn't a fairy tale. The good guys don't win, the bad guys don't lose, and winter isn't just coming, it's on the way with zombies. So, buckle up, because this was just book 1. Oy, there are 4 more, and George R.R. Martin is just getting started. And if you thought this was messy, oh honey, you've seen nothing yet. Like, comment, and subscribe before Joffrey beheads the algorithm.